Hi students, welcome to first year commerce class. In our previous class we have learnt about types of industry, primary industry, genetic industry, manufacturing industry, construction industry, service industry, okay, extractive industry. So we have learnt that in industry we produce the goods. Now the question is, how does these goods reach the consumer? For example, someone has prepared this book somewhere in Mumbai. How come it reaches Hyderabad? How come it comes to the hands of lecturers? How come it reaches a particular college? Not only book, any product. You take this shirt, you can take these pets, you take that mobile. Every product is manufactured at some other place. It is the brain work of some entrepreneur which gives the result of manufacturing a product. So these products are manufactured at different places. They are in different forms. So they have to be brought to the place of consumer. Then only consumer can use it and he will be paying the price. Then the manufacturer will get profits. If you produce goods and your product doesn't reach the consumer, in no way you get the money. So we require a system. We have to perform so many activities with which the product will reach the customer. In order to see that your product is purchased by the consumer, what you have to do? First of all, you have to see that consumer knows about your product. So you require a well advertisement which will communicate about your product to the customer, and you require transportation system, and till the time your product gets demand, you have to store your goods. So you require godowns, storehouses, which they are called as warehouses. You require transportation, you require packing. Okay, lot of marketing techniques are to be adopted. You have to fix a justified price for your product. All these things are to be done. You require the services of best sales force where they can convince the customers to buy your product. So after all these efforts, the product will reach the consumer. Then the price will come back to the manufacturer. So that is a cycle. So in between the producer and the consumer, there are so many hindrances, so many obstacles. They are called as hindrances of commerce. So, commerce is the process, it is the sum of activities which we have to perform in order to see that any product manufactured by the producer or manufacturer reaches the consumer. It is an organized system of activities where it will remove all the hindrances. Like you travel from your home to college or your home to some other place, in between the road you will find so many hurdles, like there may be some traffic jam, signals, speed breakers, bad road, improper transport facility. So you overcome all these difficulties. Hindrance means difficulty, some trouble. Okay, commerce removes all the hindrances. What are the various hindrances? In the next class we will be discussing. So that is why as commerce removes all these hindrances, it has got great importance in the field of business. Okay, for every businessman or in the society, commerce has got a great role to play. It is very important. So why commerce is so important for any country? Why we got a separate ministry for that? You can see even in Government of India also, we will have a separate portfolio, Ministry of Commerce. That means every government, every state, every country will give a lot of importance to the field of commerce. Why commerce is so important? Let us understand. Commerce tries to satisfy increasing human wants. While introducing this first year commerce, I told you that the main reason for increasing business opportunities is the increasing human wants. Everyone is interested to buy something. That means their zeal to buy, their desire to buy is giving scope for some business. For example, your desire, your want to get commerce education is giving scope for us to teach commerce. Suppose if you do not have that interest of studying MEC or CEC, you won't become the student of Sri Medhavi College. Then we can't provide you service. So like not only in education, with respect to food, with respect to textiles, costume, footwear, electronics, houses, cars, pets, for various items, people have got different wants. One would like to buy a beautiful house, one would like to buy a beautiful car, one would like to have a tasty food, one would like to have a better dress, one would like to join in a better college. Everyone, according to their financial position, their requirements, they have got wants. Now, commerce will try, by its functions, it will try to satisfy your wants. Suppose you require a product. Suppose I want to write on board, so I want a marker. So, some trader, some businessman will provide this, not at free of cost. I am paying for that. So, my want is to buy a marker. So, this is satisfied by the field of commerce. So, that is the first importance of commerce, that it satisfies the human wants. What is the want? The desire to buy something, the desire to have food, the desire to buy a new dress, the desire to buy a new bike or car. All these are called as wants. So, if commerce is not there, people cannot satisfy their wants. Suppose say you wish to buy a new phone to attend your online classes. In the absence of commerce, can you buy a new mobile in the market? No, because there will be no seller. There will be no shop which can offer you that mobile. There will be no online business. Commerce includes all these things. All these shops, business techniques, storage, transportation, production, all are part of commerce. In simple, we can say that commerce includes industry, trade, and aids to trade. Even if you remove industry, we can say specifically trade and aids to trade. Commerce includes trade, means buying and selling of goods, and aids to trade means the activities which support trade, like transportation, banking, insurance. All these comes under the category of aids to trade. In the next class we will discuss. So, commerce tries to satisfy increasing human wants. Next, commerce helps to increase our standard of living. How can you increase your standard of living, ma? What exactly is standard of living? Standard of living is decided by the quality of goods we consume, what type of goods we are using, whether we are using a 150 rupees shirt or 1500 rupees shirt, whether we are eating 1 rupee kg rice or 40 rupees kg rice from supermarket. To buy rice, whether we are going to a ration shop or going to a supermarket, that is your standard. How you are coming to college, by walk or by car. So, how can you improve your standard of living when you have better earning? Apart from that, when the goods are available in the market at cheaper rates, your standard of living will be good. Otherwise, economically backward and middle class people were out of reach of these goods. They can't buy the products. They can buy the products when they are available at cheaper rates. So with the help of commerce, as various new brands come into the market and the goods are made available to the people, so we can use better quality of goods, thus we can improve our standard of living. Next, links producers and consumers. I hope by this time you understand who is producer and who is consumer. Producer is a person who makes the goods, who prepares the goods. Consumer is the person who uses it. Now you see, I am the consumer of this marker because I am using it. Someone has made it. He is the producer. So commerce will create the link between producer and consumer by developed marketing system. Next, commerce generates employment opportunities, which is very much required for countries like India. What do you mean by generation of employment opportunities? Giving jobs. Because with the help of commerce, business expands. So many firms will be established. Okay, so many colleges will get open, hospitals will get open, supermarkets will open, transportation system will improve. Okay, we require a lot of go-downs, we require advertisement sector, we require salesmen, we require managers. So like that, so many jobs will be available if commerce is developing. So that's how in any country, that is the reason you see government will focus on development of commerce every time, any government. At the state level as well as at the national level, governments will focus on improving commerce because commerce has got a great role in generating employment, which is very much need of the situation. Next, commerce increases national income and wealth. So you might have perfectly learnt about national income and wealth in your economics. What is national income? The income earned by the country in 1 year is called as national income. It is the sum total of goods and services produced in one country from agriculture, from industry, from service sector, all the income added, that will give you national income. So when commerce is there, when the business is going on in a smooth manner, business is developing, people are purchasing goods, people are getting employment opportunities, naturally the salaries earned by these people also will be the part of national income. If people are not having jobs, they are sitting idle, we will not have increased national income. Our national income will be less. But when the population will get some employment opportunity, they do earn either wages or salaries. Those wages and salaries or any commission, any profit earned by the people also will be the part of national income. So as commerce increases, automatically the national income of the country will increase. That is the fifth advantage. Then commerce helps in expansion of aids to trade. So all the supporting activities of trade are called as aids to trade. In our next class we will discuss in detail. So commerce will expand them, means that will develop. Next, commerce encourages international trade. What do you mean by international trade? Trade between two countries, exports and imports. Already in the first lesson we have learnt. Okay, trade is of two types, international trade and national trade. Again, international trade includes export trade, import trade and interport trade. Domestic trade, national trade, home trade. Okay, that includes wholesale trade and retail trade. A very important question. Already we have discussed about this. So you go through your notes. So international trade means trade between two countries where buyer and seller belong to two different nations. So with the help of commerce, foreign trade also will improve because we will have exchange of communication. We will come to know what are the various goods produced in other countries, what is the demand for our goods in the other markets, in various international markets, where is the place for our product, which type of commodities are required in the foreign market, we would like to know. So that's how the commerce encourages international trade. Then commerce benefits underdeveloped countries. What do you mean by underdeveloped countries? Where poverty is existing to a great extent and people are not having jobs, people are struggling for food, people are struggling for education, basic amenities are not there. Okay, people have no employment opportunities, people are struggling to get goods, we are not able to produce goods for the required population. They are called as underdeveloped countries. So in such countries, if you increase commerce, if you install commerce, so this commerce will help them to get more income, to create more employment opportunities. So as we have already studied that commerce increases employment opportunities and commerce increases the standard of living. Naturally, these two are very much required for underdeveloped countries. So most countries which are still developing or underdeveloped, they require well system of a perfect system of commerce, so that all people, that means the population of country, will be supplied with goods and services, and the condition, the social condition of the people will improve.